Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss the new stories we share. Let's begin. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old. Dirty fingernails, a dress 2 sizes too big, and eyes that carried something no child should ever know. I was sitting on that bench outside the coffee shop on Maple Street, the one with the chipped green paint and the view of the old church steeple. November wind cutting through my coat. I had just closed the biggest deal of my career, $14 million. My name would be in the business journals by Monday, and I felt absolutely nothing. That's when she appeared. Mister. I looked up from my phone. She was standing there, shivering slightly, holding something crumpled against her chest like it was precious, like it was alive. Mister, can you read this for me? She extended her small hand, and in it was a piece of paper so worn it looked like it might disintegrate. Torn at the edges, folded and unfolded 1,000 times. There were stains on it, coffee maybe, or tears. I should have walked away. I had a dinner reservation at 7, important people waiting. The kind of people who don't wait, but something in her eyes held me there. Where are your parents, sweetheart? I asked, glancing around for any adult who might be looking for her. Mama's sleeping, she said. She sleeps a lot now, but she told me to find someone who could read the words. She said the words are important. My chest tightened. Something wasn't right here. Everything about this moment felt heavy, like the air itself was pressing down on us both. What's your name? Lily. Okay, Lily. I took the paper gently, afraid it might crumble in my hands. Let me see what we've got here. The handwriting was faded, feminine, careful in places, rushed in others, like the person writing it kept stopping and starting, like they were fighting through something just to get the words out. I began to read silently, and the world around me went quiet. My name jumped off the page, not my common name, not Richard or Mr. Holloway. The name only a handful of people in this world ever called me, Ricky. My heart stopped. I read the first line again, then again, convinced I was hallucinating. Dear Ricky, if you're reading this, then she found you. I looked at Lily, really looked at her this time, the shape of her nose, the way her left eyebrow arched slightly higher than the right, the dimple in her chin that appeared even though she wasn't smiling. I knew that face. I had loved that face once. 20 years ago in another life, when I was just a broke kid from the South Side with dreams too big for my circumstances and a girl who believed in every single one of them. Her name was Grace. And Grace had written this letter. My hands began to tremble, and Lily just stood there watching me, waiting for me to give her the words her mother had carried all these years. The wind picked up, leaves scattered across the sidewalk like whispered secrets finally escaping. Lily pulled her thin sleeves down over her wrists, and I noticed the goosebumps rising on her skin. Are you cold? I asked, my voice barely holding together. She nodded. I took off my coat, a $3,000 cashmere coat I'd bought in Milan last spring. I wrapped it around her tiny shoulders, and she disappeared into it like a sparrow swallowed by a cloud. Can you read it out loud? She asked. Mama said the words need to be spoken. She said you'd understand. I swallowed hard and looked back at the letter. My hands were still shaking. Dear Ricky, I began, my voice cracking on the name I hadn't heard in 2 decades. If you're reading this, then she found you. Our daughter found you, and I need you to know the truth I never had the courage to tell you. I paused. The words blurred. I blinked rapidly, forcing myself to continue. I know you probably hate me. I disappeared without a word. You woke up that morning and I was gone, and I never explained why. I've carried the guilt of that silence every day since. Lily was watching me with those enormous eyes. Grace's eyes. I kept reading. Your father came to see me, Ricky, the night before I left. He came to the apartment while you were working the night shift at the warehouse. He offered me $50,000 to walk away from you. He said I was ruining your future. He said you'd never become the man you were meant to be if you stayed shackled to a girl from the trailer park. The letter trembled in my grip. I remembered that morning, waking up alone, the cold sheets beside me, the note that wasn't there. I had searched the entire apartment, convinced something terrible had happened. For weeks, I called everyone who knew her. I drove past her mother's trailer 100 times. I filed a missing person report that went nowhere. And then I stopped. I stopped looking. I stopped hoping. I hardened myself like a stone dropped into the deepest part of the ocean where no light could reach. I should have stayed, the letter continued. I should have told him to take his money and leave, but I was 19, Ricky. I was terrified. My mother was dying and I couldn't afford her medicine. He knew exactly where I was weakest and he pressed until I broke. I looked at Lily again. How old are you, sweetheart? 6, she said. Almost 7. I did the math. It didn't add up. Grace left 20 years ago. Lily was only 6. There had to be another man, another life, another chapter I wasn't part of. But then why did this letter exist? Why was it addressed to me? I kept reading, desperate for answers. I never spent his money on myself, the letter continued. Every dollar went to my mother's treatment. and when she passed anyway 2 months later, I had nothing left. Nothing but regret and a heart that still called out your name in the dark. The wind died down. Even nature seemed to be listening. I moved to Ohio, started over, tried to forget you, Ricky. I really did. I married a man named Thomas who was kind but never quite fit. We divorced after 3 years, and then I spent the next decade alone, working, surviving, but never really living. Lily tugged at my sleeve. Is Mama in trouble? She asked. She told me the letter would make things better. She said you would help us. My throat closed. Let me finish reading. Okay, then I'll answer all your questions. She nodded solemnly like she was used to waiting for answers that never came. 6 years ago, I continued, I saw you on television, a business interview. You were talking about your company, your success, your life, and I broke. I shattered right there on my kitchen floor because I realized you had become everything your father said you would, and I wondered if maybe he was right. Maybe I really was holding you back. No, that's not how it worked. My success was built on numbness, on the wall I constructed after she left. I threw myself into work because I couldn't bear to feel anything else. I achieved everything because achievement doesn't require vulnerability. She didn't hold me back. She was the only thing that made me want to move forward. The letter went on. I found out I was pregnant shortly after seeing that interview. I had a brief relationship with someone I thought I could trust, but he left the moment I told him about the baby, and so I raised Lily alone. I named her after your mother, Ricky, the woman you talked about every night with tears in your eyes, the woman you lost when you were only 8 years old. I wanted our daughter to carry something of you, even if you'd never know she existed. Wait, I read that paragraph again. Our daughter. Ricky, Lily isn't Thomas's child, and she isn't that other man's either. I lied to protect her, to protect both of you. The world tilted. She's yours. Lily is your daughter. My breath stopped. The sounds of the street faded. Everything disappeared except this letter and this child standing in front of me. I looked at her, truly looked, and I saw myself. The stubborn set of her jaw, the way her hands fidgeted when she was nervous, the tiny birthmark behind her left ear identical to my own. Lily was my daughter. Grace had kept her hidden for 6 years, and now she was dying. I'm sick, Ricky, the letter continued. Cancer, the kind that doesn't negotiate. The doctors gave me 6 months. That was 8 months ago. I've been borrowing time I don't have because I needed to make sure Lily would be okay. My tears fell onto the paper, smudging words that already looked like they'd survived a flood. I have no family left, no friends who can take her. The foster system would swallow her whole, and I can't bear the thought of my baby girl becoming just another forgotten file in a government office. I thought of my childhood, my mother dying when I was Lily's age, my father turning cold and hard, treating me like an investment rather than a son. The loneliness that carved itself into my bones and never quite left. I would not let that happen to her. I'm asking for something I have no right to ask, the letter said. I'm asking you to take her, to love her, to give her the life I never could. Lily was watching me cry. She reached up and touched my face with her tiny fingers. Don't be sad, mister. Mama says tears water the flowers in our hearts. I almost laughed through my sobbing. That was pure Grace. The letter has your old address, Grace wrote. The apartment on 5th Street. I sent Lily there because it's the only place I knew. I told her to find someone kind who could read the words to her. I prayed it would be you. I lived in a penthouse now, miles from 5th Street, but something had pulled me here today, something I couldn't name. I had taken a wrong turn and ended up on Maple Street, outside this coffee shop I hadn't visited in 15 years. Fate, chance, Grace's spirit guiding her daughter home. I don't know which one I believed. Where do you live, Lily? I asked gently. She pointed down the street. The shelter, the one with the blue door. Mama's there. She can't walk anymore. My heart shattered into a million pieces. Grace was dying in a homeless shelter, clutching the hope that I would somehow find her daughter and make things right. I stood up and extended my hand to Lily. Can you take me to her? To your mama. She looked at my hand, then at my face. You believe the letter? I nodded. I believe every word. She smiled for the first time, and that smile broke open something inside me that I'd kept locked away for 20 years. The shelter was only 2 blocks away. The blue door was peeling. The smell inside was despair mixed with industrial cleaner. But Lily walked through it like she belonged there because she did. Grace was in a room at the back. A cot, thin sheets, medical equipment donated from somewhere that could barely afford to give it away. She looked up when we entered, and there she was, the girl I had loved with everything I had, older now, fragile, but those eyes were the same, those eyes that once made me believe I could be anything. Ricky. Her voice was barely a whisper. I crossed the room in 3 steps and fell to my knees beside her bed. I took her hand. It was cold, too cold. I'm here, Grace, I'm here. She started crying. So did I. Lily climbed onto the bed and nestled against her mother's side. I'm sorry, Grace breathed. I'm so sorry for leaving you, for believing I wasn't enough. Stop. I pressed my forehead to her hand. You were always enough. My father was wrong. I was wrong for not finding you, for giving up. She shook her head weakly. You didn't give up, you survived. That's what we do, we survive. I spent 7 hours in that room. I called every specialist I knew. I arranged for an ambulance to take her to the best hospital in the city. Money wasn't an object. Nothing was an object anymore. Grace passed away 3 days later, but she didn't die in a shelter. She died in a private room with fresh flowers on the nightstand and her daughter holding one hand while I held the other. Her last words were to Lily. He's your daddy, sweetheart. He's going to take care of you now, and he's going to love you like I always knew he would. Lily looked at me with those enormous eyes. Is it true? Are you my daddy? I pulled her into my arms. Yes, baby girl, I'm your daddy and I'm never letting go. That was 4 years ago. Lily is 10 now. She loves painting and hates broccoli. She tells terrible jokes that somehow always make me laugh. She has her mother's kindness and, according to her teachers, my stubbornness. I sold my company last year. I didn't need it anymore. What I needed was time. Time to heal, time to be present, time to become the father I never had. Grace taught me that success means nothing if you have no one to share it with. Lily teaches me that every day. I keep the letter in a frame beside my bed, a reminder of the moment everything changed. A reminder that sometimes the universe sends a little girl with a torn piece of paper to crack open a closed heart. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and visit the channel for more real-life stories.